Welcome to 𝗥𝗵𝗲 show. Thank you for tuning in week in and week out to listen, learn, and grow. And we love to absolutely implore you with knowledge. And welcome to the new people that are joining in, wondering what is this show about? Well, this show is about mindset and real estate. So today I'm going to be taking over the conversation. And today I want to talk about change is your personal success. But before I do go ahead and share what I want to share about today, I want to introduce myself. My name is 𝗥𝗵𝗲.
My name is 𝗦𝗵𝗲.
And welcome to our show. I want to talk about change your personal rules for success, right? Change your personal rules for success. So what are your rules that you stick by? So you need to first of all, you need to figure out, okay, what are your rules? So the rules that we have been living with, okay, in our past lives, the rules that we've been living with, and those rules. So actually, so what we have when we talk about rules is what we've been living with. So you have two kinds. You have the conventional, conventional rules, and then number two, you have the unconventional approaches. So the unconventional approaches is simply what we have been programmed, because we've all been programmed, right? We've all been programmed. This is what we, what we've been thinking. How do we feel about a certain thing? And then the actions that will take us to the goal that we want to achieve. So this will come from your approaches. How do you even go about changing yourself? So that this is what I want to talk about. It is change your personal rules for success. So that is what I was saying, is that when you have the conventional, when you have the unconventional approaches, how do you, for example, like, say, for example, at work, how do you approach a certain task? Okay, so maybe for example, approaching tasks. Now, do you approach the task in a positive, right, in a positive light, or are you negative towards that task, towards that job that you are asked to do? So if you're going to be, so let's take this approach, because now if we're changing, because as I said, the past 10 years of our lives, we have been dictated, we have been programmed, and all of us now, when we want to change, that change takes a long time, but that change requires a lot of effort, and it requires a lot of rewiring, reprogramming ourselves. And when we can learn to reprogram, okay, so change always comes with can come with uncertainty when you're asked to change could come about. Fear could come in when you are asked to change, or when we are changing in ourselves, because everything that I'm sharing with you, change your personal rules of success. Every change that we are going through, it always starts with ourselves first. It starts with the internal programming. So when you can change your internal programming, you can, of course, change your external. And it's very impossible to change your external, then change your internal, because it does not work like that. And especially when we talk about your mindset, everything to do with your mind always correlates to your internal. So, you know, your rules that you have had, your rules that you have programmed, that you have lived with, those rules, your past rules, okay, it's your past, it does not work. Does not work. And the reason why I emphasize in the caps is does not work now, because now is the present moment. The now is the now. Now is this moment when we are changing, and we are changing our rules, and we are changing the game, how we've been playing, how we have been playing. Now that's a good point right here. How have you been playing your game? Meaning your life. How have you been living your life? So if you have not, if you've been living your life on the mundane, on the day-to-day, oh, it's so blasé, you just go with, you know, how you're just been programmed to go, it's just like, you know, very robotic. But when you can change your rules, change your game is your rules, and your rules is how you are living. So when you are living on the most robotic, mundane kind of way, always, you know, I'm just going to go, you don't have a direction. You don't have goals. So if you don't have goals or you don't have directions, then you are in that uncertain phase. There's uncertainty. Uncertainty creeps in because you haven't been given yourself, your internal program, your internal GPS, the direction where you are headed. And so instead, you are now being directed by the roboticness or the mundaneness of life. And that's not what you need to live. So when you are changing your rules, you need to understand that your past rules, okay? Your past is your past. Your past is not anywhere where you need to be in the now, because your now is the present. Your now is the gift. And this is where a lot of people get confused, because people live mostly in the past and people are living mostly in the future. Now, future is not predicted. Future, we don't know what's going to happen. The past, we've already lived the past, hasn't served us. We are not going there because it doesn't serve. So if it doesn't serve you, there is no point being in the past. But a lot of people are still there. So a lot of people go between the past that they live in, and a lot of people live in the future that they live in. What is not being said is the present, the now, the moment, which is why it's called a gift. If you miss out on the gift, you are going to miss out on a huge chunk of this piece that, you know, you will not be solving. And so that's why it's important that, you know, when you are changing your rules for success, changing your life in the way that you want to see it, you always have to be, you got to be positive about it. Because when the moment that fear comes in, the moment that uncertainty comes in, this is when then people start to latch onto, because the reason why they do latch onto that thing is because they don't have a direction, your compass, your GPS. is not being programmed to how it needs to be programmed, to seeing your rules that you've been playing, those rules that you have been underneath on the conscious level. How have you been operating? Because your conscious, right, your conscious mind is your thought and your intellectual mind, whereas your subconscious really lives that part of your mind. This is where your feelings, your emotional part start to, this is where it lives. And this is where you need to pay most attention. So when you are now changing your rules, you are now changing and you are reprogramming. In order to change, you've got to rewire your old part of you that does not serve you. So I know this is deep. This is why I've kept it very short, because this truly is how I have learned this lesson, and I have really taken and learned that it takes a lot of it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work that we need to do, and especially the inner work. It is very, very highly recommended that you really work on your inner self to really see any of the external really take place in your lives. So now the task that I want to set for you is that you are at work. Okay, and I want you to see yourself, if your boss asks you to do a task, how do you approach? So now that you are changing your mindset, how do you approach that task? Very important question. How do you approach? Do you approach it, oh, I think this is too difficult. Oh, I don't think I can do this. Right? So the fear is already starting to creep in. And then, of course, that's a negativity. Or do you say, yeah, 100%, yeah, you know what? Bring it on. I can do this. I can absolutely do this. And I'm going to work my hardest. I'm going to stay throughout my lunch break, and I am going to do it. This is the attitude. This is how you will start to shift. When you can start to shift and to see yourself, remember that last question I asked you is to measure yourself on a scale. How do you see yourself every day? Are you reactive? Are you proactive? How do you see yourself? Okay, so that's the task that I've set for you today, and I really want you to do it because it's such a great lesson. Honestly, it's just really, it changed the shift in me to really see myself. Okay, where am I today? So do that task, and I look forward to really seeing how you guys got along.
No, after.
Yes.
Now, I do have a question about what you just mentioned, finding ourselves, whether we are proactive or whether we are reactive. Can you expound more on that? Based on my understanding, proactive, you take the task given to you at that point in time, and then make it as a challenge. How do I make this better? Whereas reactive, you'll say, oh no, another load of work. Oh my. Is that what you mean by proactive versus reactive?
Absolutely. So when you are proactive, so let's take the task, for example. So how do you become reactive? In what cases would you react? So you're going to react and say, no, I'm not going to do this. No, this is too difficult. No. So what you're affirming to yourself, you're already starting to, that fear is already starting to come in. You are uncertain about yourself, and so you will react. So it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be in the workplace, but the workplace is just an example that I want to give to you, because most people are tuning in from work perhaps, but this could be any part of your life. You could react anywhere. You could react if you're at the bank. You could react out of nowhere. You could react to your tellers because a certain transaction, maybe they didn't quite hear you. And so at that moment, when you're seeing that, no, what they did was wrong, rather than do course correction there and then, which you will, but it's the way that you will course correct. You will yell, you will make it everything about you, and people are listening. So that's reaction. That's a reaction that you give off. Okay, so that's you're going to be reactive. So think about, it doesn't matter what examples that you are living in, be aware. So it could be at work that you might react. It could be, external, like, you could be with your husband, or with anyone, with your kids. You could be reactive. So some, people might not have done how you wanted them to do that particular task, and you are going to react. So that's one example, reaction. But then how does proactive, how does that come into your life? So say for example, you are at work. You will head on take that task, and you will say to your boss, absolutely, leave it to me. You'll be more in that delegation. You will say to your boss, okay, give me more tasks to do. So now this is, you are being that improve, frontal cortex. This is where you are now sending that message through your nervous system, and you are saying, and you are being in that delegation mode, and you are now saying, yes, give me more. Yes, I'm excited. So that you're being more euphoric. And when you get in that more euphoric mode, you are now excited. And when you get excited, you will be proactive, because you are now understanding, okay, how is my mindset shifted? How do I want it to shift? And you are being proactive in your workplace, because as we say, how you do one thing, you will do everything in every aspect of your life. So if you can start to measure how you are reactive or proactive in your workplace, this is going to transcend in every area of your life. So Ria, that's exactly what it is. Learn to see, be aware which areas in life people need to shift.
Thank you for that, Alka. Now we know.
Right, exactly. So you know what, that's what I'm saying, challenge yourself. I'm going to give you that challenge, is to see yourself, to measure yourself on the scale of 1 to 10. Where are you gradually, daily? How are you measuring yourself in terms of your mindset shift? And as I said, talked about today, changing your rules for success. How are you changing your rules? And your rules need to apply in how you see yourself, in the positive light, in the negative light, in the reactive or proactive light. So I hope this truly, helps you today. And I want you to do this exercise. But with that being said, we have come to the end of another amazing show. Thank you for tuning in. As always, we truly appreciate you. Ria and I always want to share our knowledge to you. So make the rest of the day the best of your day, and we will see you soon. Bye.